Welcome to the Timeless Vitality Podcast, where co-hosts Kate Beck and Amber Stitt explore the unique journeys, inspiring stories, and timeless wisdom of those who embody vitality and resilience.
Together, we discover what it means to thrive well beyond 100, sharing insights that empower you to live with purpose and create a lasting legacy.
Let's get started with today's episode.
Hello and welcome to the Timeless Vitality Podcast. We are your hosts, Amber Stitt
and Kate Beck.
And welcome to this podcast series. We are so happy that you are here. So Kate, I think we need to take all of our listeners back in time to a time that we met, didn't really know each other that well, didn't know back in 2022 that we would be here today launching a podcast in 24, and our first season is here. So want the listeners to get a good idea of what this whole podcast, all the episodes are about. But let's take them back in time. So we met at a conference. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. Amber, you are in the hallway at a conference launching the Lead Her podcast. And I had just said to Ashley at that time, Ashley, who was at the conference with me, I would love, it's on my bucket list to be a guest on a podcast. And I didn't have to wait too long because here's Amber making her own road, literally in the path, creating a pathway for the Lead Her podcast. And I was so excited to be on it. We were talking about connections and thank you cards. And then you invited me to be a guest on the Amber Stitt show. And our energy was so electric. We immediately said, we have to come up with something. We had some difficult conversations and situations, a story that you had asked me about that came up. And we decided to launch the framework for timeless vitality.
So Kate, we were talking on the Pathways podcast, which we can shamelessly plug it in our description box. But because of you working in Medicare, you've had different conversations than I've had with my clients that might be 28 to 55, just depending upon where they are. Lots of business owners and medical professionals. And we had started talking about personal stories. I have a grandmother who's 92 and she's just doing amazing. She's just so insightful. When you talked about a story, you had said, there's these certain things that you've had to not endure, but like experience. And gosh, what are people really doing about their planning?
Yeah, absolutely, Amber. Here's the thing. We all wake up every day thinking we have endless amounts of time and our body's going to work and we're happy, healthy, living our best life. And we don't want to think about injuries or unanticipated health situations. And one time I was at a friend's house and their grandmother was there and she was visiting from a care facility. And at that time, she had dementia and was suffering from Alzheimer's and dementia, and she just really was losing her faculties. So she was there, but sometimes things like if the dog treats were out, she would go to eat them. Like she just really didn't know what was happening. And everyone in the family had been dealing with this for years. And so they were exhausted. And while I was there, she actually had an accident and blew out her diaper. And literally, I was in the bathroom rinsing her down and wiping her, what. And it got me thinking, wow, I'm happy to help her do this. But what if that was me? And who's going to wipe my what?
Yep.
And how can I start cracking the code on these uncomfortable conversations that we need to have, but we're not having? How long can we wait before we start thinking outside of the box of what plans are in place beyond the insurance? Like what conversations are in place? I mean, even all the way to Sue's episode where she's talking about Web 2 to Web 3, right? Where we can take our documents and put them on the blockchain so that a loved one would be able to know about what other policies you might have. So that's really the story that left an impression on me. And we were talking about it like, wow, your grandmother's healthy, happy, and thriving. So how can we propose that timelessness?
Yeah. And that's where you were instrumental in the Timeless Vitality, that title. And I'm a big advocate of planning and being super responsible and laying out these plans, and having these conversations is not easy. And that's where you and I were starting to talk about that. And part of this podcast for all of you listening too is it's important that as you go through this, we'll talk more about what you're going to get in all of these episodes, but it's important for people to know at any age, anywhere, you can find like-minded people that can help you innovate and build or empower. And that's really where, Kate, we developed those pearls of wisdom So let's have you share about the pearls, because these pearls are going to be acknowledged throughout the series.
Absolutely, Amber. Someone asked me, how did you find guests to be on your podcast? And for me, it seemed really easy because we led with our values. And each episode, someone is sharing a challenge that they overcame, and it led to a pearl of wisdom. And the way Amber and I and the Timeless Vitality podcast define pearls of wisdom is P is for purpose, empowerment, E, accountability, A, resilience, R, and legacy for L. So when you hear us talk about pearls of wisdom, we're really talking about core values of purpose, empowerment, accountability, resilience, and legacy.
Yeah. It was through our network. It was actually not easy, but we had these people in our network. And I know one of our guests talks about network being net worth. That's why the tribe is so important in your community. So we're hoping to then bring that to you all so you can pick up these nuggets. And maybe not everything's applicable right now. Maybe all of them are, some of them, but maybe it's something that you can take with you and provide to the family, friend, or person that needs that little nudge. And it might just be you. And that's really, Kate, like we came to this common ground that we're not having these conversations about aging. If we are, it might have a negative connotation to it, where you and I got so jazzed up in our mid 40s that we're like, we do not have to take on just the traditional role that we've kind of seen, or maybe we're going to myth bust through this. But let's talk more, Kate, about how we want to have people have this amazing journey as they age through 100 and beyond.
Yes. Statistics are showing that we're living longer. So gone are the days where, you're retiring at 65 and it's like your time on earth is over, right? Our time on earth is happening to age 100 and beyond. And actually, I'm saying to 200. Let's plan on 200 because here's the thing. With all this advancement of medicine, technology, AI, relationships, there's so many whole person solutions out there. And it's beyond just what did I eat and drink today? It's also your community. It's your personal relationships, your professional relationships. It's so many things. And we've really uncovered some really interesting topics that surprise me. Every episode, when they answer what makes someone or something timeless, my heart is filled with joy.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So if you think about our series, it's almost like a book that is written, and we're going to go through the hard stuff first. And we're asking all of you, we're challenging you to be accountable to yourself and go, what conversations do I need to have so that I am not leaving my family in trouble because I didn't plan. So a lot of this front end is you have to have some real talk. So this is not for the faint of heart here. We are wanting you to take some action through these early episodes. Meet with these people, connect with them, see how you can integrate some of these solutions that are being spoken about in the very beginning of that. So I'll call it the hard stuff might be first, but I want you to really be true to yourself. And so Kate, don't you see that a lot of people just don't really talk about this?
They don't want to.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about it. It's so much easier to put our head in the sand. So here you've got Amber and you've got Kate asking, and we're putting our arms out and we're welcoming you. We're going to bring you to the table. We're going to acknowledge your accomplishments. Together, we acknowledge you. We acknowledge ourselves. And we're going to crack this uncomfortable topic wide open. We're going to go into AI. We're going to go into purposeful living. We're going to go into testing to find out if you have cancer. We have long-term care facilities. We have so many perspectives that even in the beginning, it didn't even occur to me. Some of the things that we brought up, it's really unfolded nicely. I'm excited for these chapters to unfold.
Okay. So we also, as we've talked kind of right at the beginning, well, I guess we didn't share that we are both business owners. So we've met through different communities. What's been interesting is through the middle of our series, we're seeing multiple ages start businesses, start strategic partnerships in their 60s, 50s, 60s.
Yes. Starting businesses, writing books, developing themselves and talking about their story, knowing who you are. We're also hearing that people are giving themselves a chance to shine brighter because new ideas are popping up for them. New things are happening.
And as we get towards the final episodes, this is where we're taking a big look at mindset. and we go and do the hard stuff. Once we get through, build our community too, because again, I want you all to connect with the guests and make sure that you're building this community. We're here to help you with that. As we get into the final episodes of this season, mindset and having gratitude, and let's be excited about this. And if you're not that excited, like, we're hopefully going to change your attitude and bring you with us along this journey, because if we're going to live to 100 and beyond, like 200, like Kate's saying, it's going to take not just ourselves, but our people and bringing those like-minded people around us.
That's right, Amber. It's about living in this world and to know you're not alone. And if you have ideas for the show, we'd love to hear from you. We would love to hear from you on social media. We would love to hear from you on our email. It has really, truly been such a fun and adventurous project. When Amber and I started, we literally said, we're going to do it. And we were accountable to each other. We are both full-time business owners, and we volunteer full-time on nonprofit boards, and we have families. So it's not like we're just sitting around eating bonbons. This is something that we carefully, strategically made happen while working full-time, volunteering, and being active family members. And it's not impossible. So I just hope that you do enjoy our season, all the chapters, because each person really brought a unique perspective, and it has enriched my life so much. And I just know it's going to enrich yours.
That's true. The guests are actually so excited to meet you all just in the beginning recording phases. So please enjoy these carefully curated episodes. We are so excited to have you dive in.
Join us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us on the Timeless Vitality Podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to embrace the journey of thriving well beyond 100.
Remember, your story is still unfolding, and every step you take adds to the timeless legacy you are creating. Until next time, stay vibrant, stay empowered, and continue living with purpose.
We'll see you on the next episode.